So let's talk a little bit about ordering and comparing integers. Back to the good old number line. You're going to come across something that says ascending order and descending order. Big words, but not that scary. Ascending order means going from smallest to biggest. So smallest to small to big. And then descending means we start at the biggest and we descend to the smallest. So big to small. Okay, so descending, descend down from biggest to smallest, and ascending, we go up from smallest to the greatest. Okay, so there's mathematical symbols that we use that indicate comparisons and represent. We're going to use them actually a lot, so it's important that we really know this list quite well. So here are the words, and you've probably actually heard them before. The greater than in words, the mathematical symbol, that's the greater than. Less than is simply flip the other way. Equal to, I think we all know what that one is. We're pretty familiar. Greater than or equal to is greater than or equal to. So the line under the bottom is the or equal to part. Same with less than or equal to. So the line underneath indicates that it's less than or equal to. So we have a bunch of numbers here, and we want to replace the question mark with one of those symbols. The greater than, the less than, the equal to, the greater than or equal to, the less than or equal to. So 15 to 16, that's a pretty simple one. Which would you rather have, $15 or $16? So 15 is less than 16. Now there's lots of different ways which teachers will use to say how to remember which way to place your inequality. That's what this is called. It's called an inequality. And really, I just think the easiest thing is to think of the arrow is pointing to the smaller number. So in this case, the arrow is pointing to the 15 because the 15 is smaller. 6 and -2. Well, if you remember on the number line, all the numbers as they go to the left are getting smaller and smaller. -10 seems like a big number, but since it's negative, it's actually smaller than any of the numbers that are this way. So when you have a negative and a positive, the negative number is always going to be smaller than the positive. So the inequality that we use is going to be pointing to the smaller number. And how we read this is 6 is greater than -2. Okay, so -9 and 8, same thing. We have 9. This is where it's like your brain wants to say 9 is bigger than 8. But because that negative is there, here's -9 all the way over here, and 8 is quite a bit farther to the right. And everything on this side is bigger than the -9. So -9. Now remember, since it's less, we want the arrow to point to the less. And we read this as -9 is less than 8. Well, here we have two negative numbers. So the question is, which one is smaller? Well, here's -5, here's -8. Since -8 is farther to the left, then -5 is bigger. So this says that -5 is greater than -8. All right, last one. We have a 12 and a 12. Well, there's really only one that it could be. 12 is equal to 12 because they're both the same number. So we can simply replace that question mark with an equal to. Here's a group of numbers, and we want to place them, each of them, in ascending order. Now remember, ascending order means from smallest to the biggest. And again, I've got the number line on the bottom there so that if you need it, you can use it. So we have two positive numbers and a negative number. Well, negative is always smaller than positive, so we can go ahead and write that one first. And then we only have two choices left, so which is bigger, 1 or 5? Think of it like money. How much would you rather have, 1 or 5? I'd rather have 5. Here's 5 numbers instead of 3, just getting a little bit bigger, but that's okay. Again, look for the smallest number. Well, we have these two positive numbers and a 0. 0's in the middle, it's not negative, not positive, and 2 negative numbers. So which of the negative numbers is the smallest? Again, negative 5 is here, negative 2 is here, so negative 5 is smaller. Okay, so then we have 0, 8, and 10. 0 is right in the middle, 8 is bigger than 0, and 10 is bigger than 8. Smallest to the biggest, ascending order. Okay, last but not least, there's only one negative number, so that's an easy one to figure out. We have two 4s here, and sometimes you only need to write it once, and sometimes you need to write it twice. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to write it twice. It doesn't matter, obviously we can't distinguish between the two because they're the same, they're equal. And 6 is smaller than 8. So -7, 4, 4, 6, and 8. That's ascending order. So let's do the opposite. Let's do descending order. So start with the biggest number. So here we have -6, 0, and 6. Well, the biggest number is obviously going to be 6. Because we know that 6 is bigger than 0. But we also know that 0 is bigger than -6. So now we have 6 numbers, and we're going to start with the biggest and go to the smallest. So we have 2 negatives, and then we have 3 positives. Again, remember 0 is neither negative nor positive. So let's look at the biggest number that we have. It's between 16, 10, and 13. Again, think of it like money. Which would you rather have? 16, 10, or 13? I'd rather have 16, so I'm going to start with 16. Then we have only 10 and 13 to decide. I'm going to cross off the 16. So 13 comes next. The rest of these numbers, with the exception of this guy, but these 3, they're all on our number line. So cancel these. And then I've got 0, -8, -12. So 0, -8 we know is bigger than -12. So we've gone from the biggest to the smallest. That's descending order. Okay, so here we have some record low temperatures for select southern states. Okay, I admit it. I made these up. I think Georgia should get some cold temperatures every now and again, and so should Hawaii. So I gave them cold temperatures. So here we have Georgia at -17 degrees Fahrenheit, Hawaii at -2, Louisiana at 12, Alabama at -25, Oklahoma at -28, and Indiana at -33. So pretty chilly for some of them, but again, they're record lows, so it doesn't happen too often. So now what we want to do is we want to take those temperatures and we want to put them into ascending order and then graph the temperatures. So ascending order means you go from the smallest to the largest. So if we look at these temperatures, we can see that our smallest is going to be this -33. Then, so we're going to write -33. Get my pen back here. -33. The next temperature that we had that was the smaller or one bigger is the -28. Then we had the -25, -17, and that should take care of all but one of our negatives. And then last but not least, we had Louisiana, which was 12 degrees. So here we have it in ascending order from smallest to biggest, and we simply need to graph these points on the number line. So notice that I have the scale different. That's okay. There's 33, negative 33, negative 28, negative 25, negative 17, somewhere in there, negative 2, and 12. So I have simply placed dots in where roughly these temperatures would be. So list the temperature from warmest to coldest. So what does that mean? In ascending order, we had the smallest to the greatest. Now, when we're talking about temperature, this guy is going to be much colder. So ascending order is from coldest to warmest. So now if we want to go from warmest to coldest, we want to go in descending order. So our temperatures were at 12, negative 2, negative 17, negative 25, negative 28, and negative 33. And this is from warmest to coldest. So that's, when you're asked, throw out these words, that's the beginnings of what you'll see when you get to word problems. Okay, rewrite the following sentence using an inequality symbol. It says Alabama was colder than Georgia. So if we're talking about temperature, we've got Alabama and we've got Georgia. Now Alabama, the temperature for that was negative 25. And for Georgia, we had negative 17. Now remember, the arrow points to the smallest number, in this case the coldest temperature. So the coldest temperature is going to be the negative 25 because it's farther to the left on the number line. Let's rewrite this one. Hawaii was warmer than Indiana. Okay, well, Indiana was negative 33. So Hawaii and Indiana, negative 33, and Hawaii was negative 2. Negative 33 is farther to the left, therefore it is smaller or colder, and so the arrow must point to the smaller value, which is negative 33. And that is a little bit about comparing and ordering integers.